Hello and welcome to Learn with Indrjeet. This is another video in the series of videos titled Building a To-Do Management System in the latest .NET 8 framework from Microsoft. In the previous video, we implemented inline edit on the To-Do groups page. If you haven't watched that video, please go ahead and watch that. In this video, we are going to implement delete functionality on the To-Do groups, and we'll activate Bootstrap tooltips, and then we'll implement a central exception handling middleware as we did in the web API project. And towards the end of the video, we'll implement Serilog for logging errors in the SQL Server database as we did in the web API project. So this video is going to be very informative and exciting. Please watch it till end, and if you find this video useful, give it a thumbs up. I am really excited to dive into it, but before that, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on the latest content. Let's get started. So here we are in Visual Studio. Let's go ahead and implement the delete functionality. So we already have a button for that. On click, we are calling the delete function. So let's implement delete, and it would be something similar to the save function. So let's change the name. It will receive an ID. So it will show the confirmation toast, and if the user clicks yes, no need to get the edited name, and we straight away call the ajax function. Let's remove this if and else, and we'll only pass the ID to the delete handler that is there on the server side, and the JavaScript part is done. Now let's implement this on the server side. F7 to open the CS file, and let's copy and paste the edit function and change the name. Will not have this second parameter. No need for the model DTO. We'll just call the delete function on the server side, and it will return rows affected, and we just want to convert this to an integer instead of deserializing. So convert dot to int32, and if it is null, let's put in a -1 value. So let's save that and hit F5 to check the delete functionality. Okay, so we want to go to the to-do groups page, and let's delete this to-do test group 5. So clicking on delete asks for confirmation. If we click yes, it deletes and refreshes the page. So test group 5 is now deleted. Okay, now that we have implemented the delete functionality, let's talk about the Bootstrap tooltips that were not visible. So let's go to the edit button and try enabling the Bootstrap tooltip. For that, we'll have to write data-bs-title is equal to edit, then databs toggle is equal to tooltip, and databs placement is equal to top, right? So these three properties enable configure the tooltip and it will show edit. Let's see that. So when we hover over the edit button, the tooltip should come up. Let it refresh. Okay, now no. So from the Bootstrap documentation, it appears that tooltips are to be enabled through JS. So I have copied some text from the Bootstrap site, getbootstrap.com. Here it is. So I just copied this code from the Bootstrap site, and now let's hit refresh and see the effect. Yes, so see, this edit tooltip is there, right? Now let's apply this for other buttons also. So let's copy this and do the same thing for delete. So on this button here, paste, it would say delete. On this button it would say save, and on this button it would say cancel, right? Let's see that again. So delete, if we click on edit, we have save and cancel. Okay, let's cancel that. Nice. So as we have implemented the delete functionality and also the Bootstrap tooltips, let's go ahead and implement the exception handling middleware, just like we did in the web API project. So let's copy the middlewares folder to the web app project, open this exception handling middleware class and change the namespace to web app. We want to do some changes here. So we want to set the status code when any internal server error occurs. Remove this line, we don't want to set the content type, and we are not creating a response or directly writing to the response. Delete those. What we want to do is we want the context response to be redirected to a page, to a central page in the application that can handle that 500 internal error. So string interpolation, let's put in the path errors / exception with the status code that we have here, which is obviously 500 internal server error. Okay, and the same thing here. If the environment is not development, then we want to get hold of the inner exception stack trace, out of which we want to generate a HTML body. Then we want to send in the email, send an email to the tech team so that the error can be resolved, right? But in case of development, we just want to redirect to this page, which is not there as of now. So let's go ahead and create a folder in the pages folder. So errors, and let's change the name of this page to exception, like so. and let's move this page to our errors folder. Okay, now we will change, let's start from the HTML markup. So this page will expect a status code, may or may not get that status code, which will be a nullable integer, and let's change the model name in the CS also, and let's remove everything that we have here except the get function. It would be a iAction result and int nullable status code with a default value of null. Okay, and then let's return page for the time being, like that. Okay, now the CS HTML part, let's replace this thing with the one that I have on the clipboard. So paste. So I have taken this exception HTML from admin LTE. Let me show you that in a minute. Save that, return to home. Here it is. So it is there in the pages, examples, and 500 HTML. So this will look like that. I have removed this search box from here, and for the 404 error we'll take this one. Okay, so let's create a page for not found. It would be a kind of a copy of this without the CS. So let's delete the CS part and name it not found, and let's change. So this will not take any params, no model is there, the name is 404 not found. Here also, like so, and something went wrong. No, let's change this to the 404 error. So like that, and 404 not found. Okay, so it says, oops, page not found, the page you are looking for does not exist, have been removed, name changed, or temporarily unavailable. Meanwhile, you may return to home. So home. Okay, so now we have the not found page. Similar to that, we want to have a internal server error page. Internal server error, which is 500, and let's copy the HTML of exception page to complete that. So paste, it would be something of this type. So let's say 500. Internal server error, and copy this to replace this. Okay, save that. So the exception handling middleware says it would redirect to the exception page with a status code of 500. So let's handle that. So if the status code is 500, we want to redirect to internal server error. Okay, so let's put in a switch over here. switch what? Switch the status code, sorry, status code, and by default return the page case. If it is a 500, then return redirect to page. What am I typing? Redirect to page. Which page? It would be in errors / internal server error. Okay, and if the status code is by chance 404, then return to not found. Okay, so this page will be a central page where every exception or the status code comes and it redirects to the corresponding page. Okay, so now in the program.cs pipeline, we want to remove these two lines because we are not going to use those, and let's comment out these. And just after the redirection, we want to use middleware, this one. The name is exception handling middleware, that is this one. So copy that, and it is coming from the web app middlewares. First thing is this, and then we want the app to use status code pages with re-execute, and see, this says it adds a status code pages middleware to the pipeline, specifies that the response body should be generated by re-executing the request pipeline using an alternate path. This path may contain a placeholder for the status code. So this path would be something of this type. So let's copy that and put in that path over here and put in a 0, right? So exception 500s are handled by this exception handling middleware, and rest of them will pass the status code to this page, and it will accordingly handle 404. Later on we can add more cases and more pages related to errors. Okay, so let's try that. So hit F5 and let's first see a 404 error. So we'll try to hit a page which is not there in the application, say ABC page. So let me go there. Okay, so let's try to go to a page called ABC. Let's see what happens. Let's put in a breakpoint here and hit it. So the status code is 404 and it will take us to the not found page. So let's see how it looks like. Yes, so it says 404 not found, oops, page not found, blah blah blah, and you can return to home like that. Okay, so the not found, this H2 was too big to see, so let's convert it to H4. Save that. Also this one H4, and on internal server error H4. Okay, once again let's go to /abc, and instead of the h2 it should show h4. So razor runtime compilation compiling the view. This is now what? This is h4, but still it is bigger, so let's convert it to a h5. Let's see what happens. No, the h4 or h5 is not having an effect on that because the font weight is 300 on the error page headline. Okay, so let's remove this headline class. Okay, and let's change it to h3. h3, no, h2 was good, so h2 404 not found, let it be. Okay, so Control Z on the not found, sorry, and on the exception. Let me revert that. Okay, save all. Now let's put in a 500 internal server error on the to-do groups page. Okay, so when the page starts to load, we want to throw an error. So throw new exception, and the exception message would be test exception, and the internal server error would be test internal exception, like that. Okay, now let's restart the application, and this time in the pipeline, this error would be handled by this guy here, and it would redirect to exception page with a status code of 500, and this would take us to the internal server error page, right? So let's go there and hit to do groups. Yes, so you can always go ahead and see the error details that are not logged here now because we have handled the exception web API. And okay, so if you want to see the details, then in the development environment we don't want to use this because we want to see the details of the error, right? Now let's close everything. So up till now we have wired up the middleware for exception handling, and we have created some pages. This one is the central page, and then the subsequent error specific pages, right? Now let's go ahead and implement Serilog as we did in the web API project. We implemented that, if you remember from a previous video, we copied the Serilog settings. And then in the program.cs we created a logger, tell it to use the configuration from the app settings file, and then just after the exception handling middleware we use these lines. Okay, so for the web app, let's go to app settings.json and paste Serilog settings here. The only difference is we want to name this table web app logs. So in the database as of now we have web API logs. Now we want web app logs. Okay, Now the next setting is creating the logger. So copy that, and before doing anything, let's create a logger. Tell it to use the configuration from the app settings file of this project, and then builder.host use Serilog. Now in the pipeline, let's use that. So just below this guy, let's put in the use Serilog logging. And this time, if we go to the to-do groups page where we have thrown an error, this error should be logged into the database in the table web app logs. So let's see that. I have also written a blog on this, how to implement logging errors in the SQL Server using Serilog, and also exception handling middleware blog is also there. You can refer to that. It is specific for the API project because we are directly writing to the response. But in this video, I showed you how we redirected to a specific central page. Okay. So let's go to the to-do groups. We see an internal server error here, and in the database, let's refresh the tables. So the web app logs table has been created by Serilog. Let's see what it has done. So it has logged the error, and the error is this one. So it is coming from to-do groups CS line number 26. Let me increase the font, and the exception says test exception, and internal exception is test internal exception, right? So we can straight away go to this line and correct that. Okay, one more time. Let's go to to-do groups again. So let us see if it has two entries, right? Like so. Okay. So in this video, we have implemented the delete functionality in the to-do groups. Then we implemented a central exception handling middleware logic. We created some error pages, our custom error pages, and then we implemented the Serilog. Too much for this video. So that's it for this video. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you found this video useful and learned something, don't forget to hit the like button and share it with your friends. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, hit the subscribe button below. Your support means a lot to me. This encourages me to invest more time and create more valuable content for you. Remember to click the notification bell so you never miss an update on future videos. In the comment section below, please let me know what you learned from today's video. What was your favorite part? If you have any questions on today's topic or any suggestions for future videos, feel free to drop them in the comment. I read and respond to as many comments as I can. To watch more videos related to the same topic, please check out the playlist, or you can visit the channel. Thank you so much for your time. Stay curious, stay inspired, and keep learning.